Is, are we letting them get off too easy? Should we expect more from them in terms of output? Or are they offering different things? How should we measure them?
I think they're getting away with murder, these players in that position. I think if you're in that position, why are you not getting 12 to 15 goals a season, especially for a top side? And I go back to the mentality. You're talking about Cantona and Del Piero that we showed. I think they've got the goal-scorer mentality. I think some of the players we're seeing now as number 10s, if you ever see them interviewed, all they ever say is they want to create a goal. They never say they want to score a goal. The nice bits that we see Silva do, Cazorla, Coutinho, all these players, they can still do that, but drive into the box. Silva's goal comes from driving into the box. He picks the ball up in that area. But I don't think if they went 5 or 6 games without a goal, they'd be thinking, I haven't scored. I don't think they really care. I think as long as they're getting on the ball, neat and tidy, playing a few nice passes, they're happy.
But isn't that because they're more of midfield players, the way Gary described it there, rather than the advanced players they used to be?
I agree with Jamie, I have to say, but just playing devil's advocate, we talk about players who control the game. These players now are having... I think the other night we said it, I think you and Jamie even said it when you talk about Silva. He ran the game. Historically, that player that ran the game was a Pirlo, a Guardiola, a Schweinsteiger, a Scholes, people who basically played in a deep-line midfield role. Those players still do run the game, those types of players still run the game at times. But actually now, controlling possession of the game and being in control of the match has become critical. I just wonder now whether we're seeing these players actually feeling as though the amount of passes that they have, the amount of touches that they have, are actually as important in some ways, and actually goal scoring isn't that important. I think 12, 15 goals should be expected from these lads. And when I watch them, I don't think there's enough output. But I just wonder whether the game's evolving to a point whereby they're becoming sort of the dictator of the game rather than actually the
So we should judge them on goals, is what you're saying? Or shouldn't?
I think it's like the centre-half debate earlier on in the season. I think the most important thing is that the team's successful. But how do we measure these players? Is it as a second striker, goals, 1 in 2? You know, 1 in 3 worst, I think so. Or are we saying 1 in 5, which David Silva is there, 1 in 5? Is that acceptable?
Well, the pressure that's put on your central striker then. You've got your 2 wide players, your striker and your number 10. They're the 4 players you'd look at and think who you want goals from. Your centre forward, for a top team, you're looking 25 plus. Your wide players and number 10, you're looking for, as I said, 12 to 15 goals.
Relatively, that those players sort of, we talked about 10, 15 years ago, Baggio was big money at the time, Rivaldo was big money. But Mata, Silva, Ozil now are big money. Ozil's been criticised this season for not scoring enough goals. But I don't see David Silva put under the same pressure, or other players potentially. But is he a goal scorer? Are we expecting goals from them when they should actually be more assist-type players or more control-type players? It's an interesting one because the game is evolving and changing. And these types of players we're seeing more and more of where there isn't the same output as you would expect from a second striker sort of 10, 12, 15 years ago.
OK, so those are the number 10s.